Alright, a lot of these older synths in general that use things like Curtis chips, the chips start failing and they don't make them anymore. So that's a big problem. You have to start sourcing the chips, and you know, there's people out there who have stockpiles of these techs, but sometimes techs don't want to give this stuff up because that's their livelihood. So if they don't have the parts to fix the synths that they specialize in, then they, then they're out of business, which is understandable. I recently bought an Oberheim OB8, which needs some new potentiometers that use a special type of potentiometer that were in the, not only, but like are most commonly found in those Oberheims. So I basically had to find somebody who had a scrap OB8 to sell me parts. And the same thing goes for this with the chips. Like, if you can find somebody who has chips and they're less than, $50 each, then you should probably buy a few just to have backups. All right, so we now have one jack installed, it looks like, hole-wise. A little uneven, but good enough. The only thing I had to replace really inside of it was I had to replace all the capacitors in the power supply. But that's a very common thing to have to do with any sort of piece of vintage gear. I mean, especially, I wouldn't say especially synths, but a lot of vintage gear, the thing that's going to go, the thing that expires a lot of times is the capacitors in the power supplies. Because due to heat and just usage, they dry out. Especially, or they start to leak. It's especially true with tantalum caps and I think electrolyte caps, if that's how you say it. They tend to dry out or burned up, or they start to leak with certain types of caps. So let's see how this looks. They're two slightly uneven looking holes, but it should all work out. I don't want metal to get inside the power supply because, a flake of metal could land across some leads on the board, and then that'll create a short out situation. So you want to get all the metal out. And I also taped up across these jacks so metal wouldn't fall into these jacks, which could also get inside the keyboard after that. I'm going to go get the jacks that go to this and put them in here. These are the actual jacks that go to this. These are the actual MIDI jacks that go to this. I actually don't remember which one is in and which one is out, but I'll figure that out later. So I'm going to make sure that these both fit in here. I can get the screws on. They're probably a little crooked, but that's all right with me. It's all about functionality, being pretty. Might have to do a little more drilling here, but not much. So what I might do here is just screw in one hole and then use the jack as a guide. Probably not a recommended way to do this, but
it's part of the fun of it though, right?
Yeah. The fun of it is doing it with what you got. Jacks are in place, maybe slightly crooked, but not bad. I'm actually kind of impressed that I did it this straight manually with a hand drill. Next is to put this all back together, make sure we have the right jacks in the right place. Hopefully this worked.